I'm going to pass this on to Kelly.
May I please bring to your attention my concern about Avenue J, across the street from my house, the continuing of the Avenue J between my house and the church all the way up to the, you know, that avenue at one time was a beautiful walking avenue, which our neighbor across the street, Ralph McBride, cleaned himself. Beautiful brick, cobblestone, everything nice. Poor Ralph went to heaven, so the avenue went to pot. And everybody walking their dogs, leave their dogs to the bathroom there. And some neighbors weren't too nice about what they did with their leftovers and their
As a
dinners.
feature of Avenue J.
So
discussed.
we were concerned about who owned the alley. And no one sort of knew who owned the alley. I said, I know as sure as I'm sitting here, the borough owns the alley and should be maintaining it. And Mr. Murphy came with that information. Had a meeting at my house with different people that were concerned about the alley. Mr. Murphy, the president of the Historic Society, he's going to walk 20 and 30 people down that walking alley. And people that own the antique shop, they all signed the petition. And the people came in town. They had a $50,000 grant to visit all towns in Lancaster County. When they came to Columbia, the first thing they said, you must preserve the historic Avenue J alley. I said, thank you, sweet Jesus. So, if we have a grant writer on the borough, you should start writing grants. There's money there to take care of that alley. The borough would have no cost at all, I'm sure of that. You know, the Lord says, treat your neighbor as yourself. This is what we should be doing. You're sitting there on this board, and I think your mission is to promote the most good for the most people, and that's us. This is what they call River Town now, see? And we're supposed to treat each other as neighbors, no matter where you are or who you are. And this is the time we should be doing that. Because my street is the most historical street in this town. It has a white mansion. My house is the first Columbia Hospital. That's St. Peter's Church. We have a Buddhist temple and I would say unique street on the town too. Catholic Church in one corner, the Buddhist temple on the other. And we have an art gallery, and we have a parlor bank, and we have the museum on the next street over, which actually be North Second instead of South Second. And so this is what we have to preserve. And that alley is very, very important to the whole scene. And I would like you people to give me some kind of resolution for what will happen to that alley and when and how.
I can answer your first question. We do have a grant writer, and Mary, we've been living off of grants in the Borough of Columbia.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Since he's been on board, Mr. Ron Miller, right here, we received over $12 million, $12 million in grant money because of his effort. So we do have a grant effort, but when you apply for grants, there's a pecking order.
Oh, I know.
You know, if you apply for this one, you're not going to get that one. You know, and you have to, you know, and what Ron's been doing is, the ones for the greatest common good for, you know, a lot of it went to the River Park down in your area, and a lot of it's going to block grants. It cost $500,000 to do a street, the total renovation of the street. So, because of grant money, we've been living off of grant money for a fund here. But, no, this is well taken. I mean, does any other council people have any comments?
Well, first thing I would say is, this goes back when Bob first came to this, and 2-3 months ago, and he asked us to check it out. So I went down the next day and checked it out. And honestly, when I first looked at that grass alley, there's no way I would have thought that was an alley. I would have thought, there's a lot of, there was one in my neighborhood, there's like these little grass alleyways that aren't paved, they're more, that's not even on the borough map, it's just more of a right-of-way for utilities, so that's what I would have thought it was. But then I walked down through the alley, you could see cars were parked behind their homes, and there were some deep tire ruts in there that people obviously were using that to drive, so we looked into it some more, and like I said, the map I gave you guys is, the borough does own it, it is Avenue J according to Jeff Helm, and the official map that the borough has on file with Lancaster County, it is Avenue J, so we do own it. So that's when I went to that meeting and listened to what you guys had to say, is I said the next thing is, it just was a very big coincidence, but when CDC had the meeting after to bring all the information back from the charrettes, lo and behold, this guy pointed this in, he just, he handpicked this alleyway out of all of them as a real connector for it. So now that drives me, like, as I said to you guys, what do you really want to see made of this? Do you want it to be no cars, inaccessible to cars, walking only? Do you want it to be, you allow the people that live there occasional access to have their vehicles in and out of there? So that's the thing that we have to flesh out. I mean, we can't just say tonight, hey, this is what we think we should do. We have to flesh this out a little bit and say,
I understand. You have almost 300 signatures.
well, you have a petition, but.
It's up there.
Yeah, here, I'll pass it around. Bob,
You have almost, pardon me?
Are all the property owners,
No. In agreement?
yes,
Absolutely.
the ones that are
not.
joining this alley?
Absolutely not.
See, that's.
That's 2 years ago, perhaps, and that's really not a point.
Well,
Okay? Because there is, for emergency, there is a plan in that.
if,
For parking, that was never deemed parkable back there until the curb was broken out and parking was created.
you mean
Not-
the curb,
You have
All
to
the Second
walk
Street.
the alley, no, behind, in the alley, okay? Actually, that was never approved as an off-street parking area.
In other words, like the backyards of the
That was
homes that
just
abut the alleyway,
made
they
By 120 South Second Street. Just made, done no way. This is where the problem started. With the decay, the erosion in that alley, along with sewer line repairs. This parking place also, there is 2 huge sewer caps there where they hook up. You can't park on top of that. I'm not going to keep sitting here and reiterating.
yeah, right.
But
I want to ask you one question.
this
It
is,
says,
I have 200, let me finish.
no, this right here, it's proven owned as of 3/11/15 by the borough. I went down and looked at borough maps, and I still haven't seen a map where it
It's
shows
in
it's
Lancaster County.
Avenue J. What year is that map?
This Jeff Helm just gave this to me a couple weeks ago. This is off the official map that Columbia Borough has filed with Lancaster County.
It's the zoning map.
It's a zoning map.
I've never seen it either.
In fact, here's a map with Avenue J on it. She
Yes.
showed us the other week.
Yeah, I know, I agree with you, and I can show you another one that's somewhere along the line that doesn't have.
It's not.
So I'm just trying to get to the bottom of what is it now? Doesn't matter what it was in 1999. What is it now? According to what it is now, it's Avenue J.
It is what it is, whatever you
There it is. Okay, and I'm going to explain this very quickly. In 1850, you're looking at Second Street. There's only 4 places on Second Street. That alley still stands.
You don't know what it uses. That's why.
This is expansion. And it's fine, it is, it's my house, it's fine.
No, I just don't know.
Right here, right here. And here's my expansion. This is the river. It just stopped. That means in the alley. But as history would probably tell you, because it is cobblestone on this side and it is wet. The wagon could not my house is standing on there was a little place there. No Gene Fisher, no canals, no nothing. Another block was another by Mrs. Wright, supposedly put down the corner, it's the old Rosie Nest, right east side. Due to the cobblestone and the brick, this was probably a carriage path that led straight down to the river, no railroad ties because this does continue down to the river. No Cherry Street, like it's not want nobody going across the property. In these signatures, irrelevant to 5 questionable connecting property owners. I connect on it. Rivertown Antiques Connect, they're on it. Discussion's been given in case of an emergency. Fire department's going to use the alley. Mary Loretto is on the block. The block people are going to be controlled. I have Shanks, Hill, Marietta, was part of their homestead down there. That's just jewelry, all history. They signed it. They're the ones that provided me with the phone bar. See where you were living where your family was living in 1949. Well, I have to beg different. You didn't drive. They could up and down that alley.
I guarantee you, I drove
Okay.
vehicles up down that alley, Bob. Before you lived there. My son just drove within the past 2 months.
Well, I would say then he is kind of special and he didn't see me. Didn't start with me.
Public alley, Bob.
Hmm?
Public alley.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. There's more important issues to closing this alley off than you're going to find 120 or 122 South 2nd Street, 122 South 4. The remainder of the block, a lot of Homestead, a lot of important Rivertown people and connected to Wrightsville. They viewed it. Wiltons are on here. John Wright's store is going to be on there. Marietta, Bob, the whole Carroll family. Anybody remember Bob Carroll, responsible for lighting the bridge? He was my neighbor for 20 years. I worked on things with him. Restoration of Marietta movie theater. If your son's that ignorant to drive up and down that historic alley, just for whatever reason whatsoever,
That's a public alley.
public or not ignorant, so choose it. I try to save that alley because there is no reason whatsoever that cars have to travel up and down the alley. None.
The committee that came in town specified that it should be a walking avenue. And I figure they know where the money is. If you contact them, they will tell you where it is.
Step 2 will prove that won't cost the taxpayer or granting money will be for that. Unless I start to get battled by minuscule, ridiculous arguments.
Yes.
Isn't that alley
Would you
considered,
state your name and your address?
Ellie Adams, 122 South 2nd Street? Isn't that alley considered as a fire alley?
Now, we're talking about Avenue J, not the private alley.
No,
Okay.
that's
The
not
private
allowed.
alleys, there's a difference. There is a private alley.
Let her speak.
No, I'm just want to make sure that she's understand. Avenue J and a private alley. or two
Okay, if we let
different
you
things.
speak, Paul, let her speak.
Well, they have to go down that private alley to get into the back of the houses. So if they block that alley off, how are they getting down in there?
And that's already been discussed with,
You're talking about Avenue J.
You're talking about Avenue.
Yeah.
They come up back alley. And the antique dealer says we could use his property.
Well, the last meeting, Chief Rhino was here for other business. While he was here, we asked him specifically about Avenue J, and he said there's no way they would bring the equipment, a driving truck up into there. It's just not gonna happen. I wouldn't expect them to either. They would, however, park down on Bank or most likely on Second, as he said, and would attack any fire incident from there. And any need they would have, they would drag their hoses down through Avenue J and up the private alley in the back.
Okay.
So even if you made it no parking, it would still have to be left open for that specific purpose as well, because
To get in back of the
they
home.
need to get back in there if they're gonna have to fight a fire. And if you left the grass, like you say, you wanna leave it natural?
Now I got another question. If you're blocking that off, we can block that fire alley off then.
Which fire alley?
That
private
alley
piece of grass
back
that
of the
goes
home.
behind our house.
And a private alley is a private alley. It's not for
The
vehicles.
only way you can block that is from the public. The public would be able to walk, bike, possibly bike, down Avenue J from Second Street to Bank Avenue.
Correct.
There's an alley between Ron Madar
Correct.
and myself. That is a private alley. No, they
For
cannot
the vendor.
individually close that off. You as borough or council could post private, so as people walk down through, they know, no, you can't come back here. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mary?
No, I don't.
Let me draw a quick map. That's what
You
I
say there's
said.
another alley
Here, you wanna
besides
see?
Bank Alley,
No,
No.
Bank Avenue.
Here's River.
No.
Okay? Here's Avenue J.
I thought that was all.
This is Bank Alley.
This.
Avenue J, and
Yeah.
this is the private alley.
Oh, behind the house.
But not going down to the bank.
Okay, so it's halfway down. So how are they getting into this area right here now?
It's a long, it was meant for.
Wait, are you telling me there are all-street parking?
No, it's hardly a 6-foot wide out access.
Okay, so this is
There's a couple
very
cars
narrow.
parked.
Yeah. And Madar had, wherever he's at. Where's Madar?
He's down here.
Well, he would have.
They're back out. Yeah.
Right? Madar had to, towards this end. He had for like cement and drains and stuff. And then at the end of his building, it turned into grass.
Yeah, so there's no parking back here.
Now. No, you can't even get a car back.
Is this the only space that's being used for all-street parking on Avenue J? No one else is
No, they can't because Ron Radar is interested, has interest in this alley too. The access, they cannot put what's
Yeah, I will. So you understand. Yeah, you put a little field trip in down to see.
Is that how you're gonna let it? And you have my number, or
Well,
email.
there is a two that we gotta look at.
And not just invite you, Bob, but we'll invite all the neighbors, all parties concerned.
If it's a borough street and they wanna take it over, we gotta do a vacation.
We're not taking it.
No, that's not what it is.
You're not gonna abandon it, we're not gonna take it over.
There's gonna be some cost to that.
Bob, your Richard phone.
Huh?
Your Richard phone number. And anybody else that wants to be invited, we can have, put their phone number.
That's the whole misconception. We are not asking to take it over or abandon. It is Columbia Borough's property. It can be made a green space. It serves no other purpose, especially with the history that's in that alley.
Oh, you call that Avenue, maybe?
Yes,
Just have me.
Yes.
I hope everybody understands what's going on here.
Yes.
We're just trying to preserve the history.
Right.
And we'll get this straight out one way or another.
Appreciate your patience.
I think there's some ways we can do this without physically closing off either end of the alley.
Those people that suggested it be preserved probably know where the money is. You have a grant writer, they'll tell you where to write it to. I'm sure you have their name and address, whatever. Call them up, say, hey. I've been living on grants for years all over this county.